Welcome back to Gemma Movie Recap Channel. Today we're going to tell you the recap of a movie called 999 from the year 2016, telling us about a group of corrupt cops and ex-military personnel who are blackmailed by a ruthless Russian mobster to execute a nearly impossible heist, forcing them to navigate a treacherous web of betrayal, violence, and deceit in a desperate bid to survive and outsmart both the authorities and their relentless underworld enemies. And without further ado, let's watch the 999 movie recap. But before we start, please support our channel by subscribing and click the bell icon for future notifications. Now, let's start. 999 revolves around Michael Atwood, a man who plans a robbery alongside his criminal associates, Russell Welch, and his ex-cop brother, Gabe. They are given a task by a mafia boss to rob a bank and retrieve a specific safe deposit box. This box contains information capable of undermining the guilty verdict against a recently imprisoned Russian crime lord who is responsible for a series of crimes. Recognizing the difficulty of the job, Michael recruits two corrupt police officers, Marcus Belmont and Franco Rodriguez, promising them a substantial reward. As Michael and his crew prepare for the robbery, they find themselves entangled with a ruthless woman named Irina Vlaslov, the wife of the crime boss. Irina is known for her merciless actions towards those who betray her. She employs Michael and his crew for her own agenda. Meanwhile, the focus shifts to Chris Allen, a police detective who is getting ready to fulfill his duties. Before heading to work, Chris bids farewell to his wife, Michelle, and their young son. As Michael and his crew gear up, they don masks and arm themselves in preparation for their bank heist. While they make their way inside, Russell remains on guard in the getaway car, keeping a watchful eye on the surroundings and monitoring any approaching police presence. Inside the bank, the crew swiftly incapacitates the security guards, ensuring no interference. Michael employs intimidation tactics to coerce one of the bank managers into unlocking the targeted safe deposit box, seizing its contents along with the box itself. Meanwhile, Gabe deviates from the original plan and discreetly adds a bundle of money to his bag, seizing the opportunity for some personal gain. With the desired item secured, Michael and his crew hastily exit the bank, triggering a grenade at the entrance as a diversion before escaping. However, as they speed away, the stolen money in Gabe's bag releases a cloud of red smoke, obscuring their vision and causing the driver to lose control. The car comes to a stop amidst heavy traffic, their escape momentarily hindered. Following their intense escape from the traffic, Michael and his crew create chaos by opening fire and hijacking other vehicles to further elude the pursuing police. Their original car is destroyed in a fiery explosion to erase any evidence. Once they find a secure hideout, tensions rise as they begin pointing fingers and blaming each other for the complications they faced. Franco and Marcus confront Gabe, accusing him of deviating from the plan and stealing the unauthorized money. Michael intervenes, cautioning the corrupt cops against resorting to violence with each other. After the argument subsides, they decide to torch the stolen car, eliminating any remaining traces, and quickly depart via an alternate route. Russell, revealing his past as a former Navy SEAL like Michael, takes a moment to caution Gabe about the grave mistake he made and the potential danger it posed to their mission. Interestingly, it is revealed that Gabe used to be a respected police officer but was dismissed under unknown circumstances. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Police Sergeant Jeffrey Allen, who is assigned to investigate the robbery committed by Michael and his crew, setting the stage for their impending confrontation with the law. The stolen safe box is revealed to belong to Dmitry, a Russian billionaire. However, Jeffrey, the police sergeant assigned to the case, remains unaware of the suspects' identities and their motives behind targeting the safe box. Meanwhile, Chris, Jeffrey's nephew and a new recruit in the police force, arrives at the station after hearing about the bank robbery. Eyewitnesses mention that the suspects communicated in Spanish, which catches the attention of Marcus and Franco, who are proficient in the language. However, Marcus and Franco appear relaxed and confident, believing that their involvement in the robbery will go unnoticed. Chris, eager to prove himself, becomes Marcus' new partner in his role as a police detective. However, Marcus displays a dislike for Chris and consistently ignores him. In another setting, Michael delivers the stolen safe box to Irina, the wife of the mafia boss. Michael experiences a sense of relief when Irina presents his son, who happens to be Irina's nephew. The child's mother is Elena Vlaslov, Irina's younger sister. Michael's decision to work for Irina and her husband is driven by Irina's threat to separate him from his son and Elena. Having completed his task, Michael approaches Irina to fulfill her promise of allowing him to be with Elena and their son and receive his payment. However, Irina refuses to return Elena and her nephew to Michael and denies him the payment. She reveals that there is one more job that Michael and his crew must carry out before she fulfills her end of the bargain. They are required to break into the Department of Homeland Security (DHS) office and obtain additional information about their husband. Irina explains that the evidence in the safe deposit box will be insufficient without the data from the DHS database. As Michael prepares to leave, he unexpectedly encounters Elena, who had just concluded a crucial meeting with FBI agents allied with Irina's husband. Their reunion is marked by awkwardness, and Elena eventually hands Irina a satellite phone in response to her husband's call. Forced to comply with Irina's demand in order to be reunited with Elena and their son, Michael contacts his crew to discuss the new assignment. However, Russell, who was about to meet with Michael, is suddenly apprehended and subjected to torture by Irina's henchmen. Irina employs this tactic as a means to threaten Michael and the other crew members. Michael and the crew await Russell's arrival but are surprised when his car arrives in a suspicious manner. They discover Russell severely injured, forcing Michael to make a tough decision. He is forced to kill Russell, leaving him traumatized. Determined to carry on, Michael and the remaining crew members devise a plan known as the 999 scenario. It involves a fake officer down call to divert all police to a specific location. Marcus suggests his new partner, Chris Allen, a Marine veteran, as the target. The following day, Chris and Marcus are assigned to a murder case linked to gangsters. Chris confronts a group of gangsters at the crime scene, but they refuse to cooperate and insult him. Tensions rise, and Chris is on the verge of a fight when Marcus steps in to warn him about the dangerous gangsters in the area. In the evening, Chris and Jeffrey meet at a bar, where Jeffrey shares new information about a bank robbery that appears to be more significant than they initially believed. Meanwhile, Marcus attempts to build a friendship with Chris as they work together on duty. Throughout the day, Chris conducts interrogations and eventually gathers crucial information about the mastermind behind the murder case. With this information in hand, Chris and Marcus assemble a team of fellow police officers and launch a raid on the house of a suspected gangster. A fierce shootout ensues between the police and the gangsters as it becomes apparent that the targeted gangster is affiliated with Luis Pinto's gang. During the operation, Chris sustains a gunshot wound, and the gangster manages to escape. However, Marcus apprehends him and engages in a physical altercation while Chris eventually arrives and shoots the suspect, neutralizing the threat. On the other hand, Jeffrey is investigating a bank robbery case and receives information from a trusted informant implicating Gabe in the crime. Meanwhile, Michael informs Irina that he is preparing for the next job and requests to speak with Elena and their son. Elena reveals over the phone that she and their son are in Tel Aviv, Israel, making it impossible for Michael to meet them in time. Gabe, still grieving over his brother's death, attempts to stop the upcoming robbery by following Chris and Marcus, intending to reveal everything to Chris. Marcus discovers Gabe's actions and forcefully removes him, fearing the exposure of their connection to Chris. Curious, Chris asks Marcus about Gabe, who reveals that Gabe used to be his informant. Gabe later tries to visit Chris at his house, but Detective Trina Lang, Jeffrey's partner, tracks Gabe's whereabouts and discovers his presence near Chris' residence. Jeffrey quickly arrived at the scene to check on Chris, relieved to find him unharmed. However, Gabe managed to escape upon realizing that the police were closing in. Meanwhile, on the planned day of the robbery at the DHS office, Marcus led Chris to an abandoned housing project to meet an informant who held crucial information related to their murder case. This meeting was part of their strategy involving the 999 scenario. While Marcus guided Chris through the dark corridors and alleys of the building, he surreptitiously disappeared, and it was then that Luis made his entrance, searching for Chris. Unbeknownst to Chris, Luis had been sent by Marcus to eliminate him. In an unexpected turn of events, Chris accidentally collided with Gabe, who desperately tried to warn him about the imminent danger in that place. Shortly thereafter, Luis launched an attack, attempting to shoot Chris but inadvertently hitting Gabe instead. Seizing the opportunity, Luis made his escape while Chris confronted the gravely injured Gabe. Before Gabe could disclose any crucial information, Marcus arrived at the scene, instigating a violent shootout between himself and Gabe. Tragically, Gabe succumbed to his injuries, while Marcus suffered a gunshot wound to the head. Overwhelmed with concern for Marcus' life, Chris immediately activated the 999 call, which also served as a signal for Michael and Franco to proceed with their planned actions. Jeffrey hurriedly made his way to Chris's location, believing that Chris had sustained injuries. Simultaneously, Michael and Franco successfully infiltrated the DHS office, overcoming some police interference to obtain the desired information. Following the operation, Michael arranged a meeting with Irina and her associates to finalize their transaction. At the anticipated reunion with his son, Michael presented him with gifts. Irina fulfilled her end of the agreement by providing the agreed-upon sum of money, but she reneged on her promise to take custody of Michael's son. After being assaulted by Irina's henchmen, Michael returned to his car and triggered a bomb concealed within one of the gifts, instantly killing Irina and her accomplices. Michael then sought out Franco to share the money obtained from Irina. However, Franco betrayed Michael, killing him and absconding with the entire sum. Meanwhile, Marcus remained in a coma as a result of the earlier shooting. In the meantime, Chris received information regarding Luis, who had been fatally shot by the SWAT team. Among Luis's belongings, Chris discovered a note in his wallet that revealed the location where Marcus had planned their encounter on the day of the shooting. Chris later realized that Marcus had arranged for Luis to kill him. Long story short, Chris visits Marcus, who is still unconscious, hoping to uncover the truth. However, his attention is diverted when he encounters Franco at the scene. Franco persuades Chris to accompany him to the police station for an explanation regarding the shooting incident. Just as they are about to leave, Chris receives a call from Jeffrey, revealing Franco's involvement in the robbery and the subsequent shootings of Marcus and Luis. In a sudden turn of events, Jeffrey is seen in the backseat of Franco's car, and both parties engage in a deadly exchange of gunfire. Franco is fatally shot, while Jeffrey sustains a gunshot wound to the stomach. As Chris desperately calls for assistance using the 999 code, he anxiously awaits Jeffrey's fate, symbolized by his act of pulling out a cigarette and lighting it, uncertain of what lies ahead. And the movie ended. What do you think of the movie? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit like and support the channel by subscribing and click the bell icon so that you won't miss our future recaps. And if you have any movie you want us to recap, please do tell us in the comments section as well. And until next time.